You're staring at a spreadsheet worth more than the GDP of a small country when the door bursts open. Two armed men drag a bruised courier into your office and slam him onto the marble floor. Blood drips onto your polished Italian tiles. Bad for the aesthetic, worse for the balance sheet. The boss doesn't even look angry. That's the terrifying part. He gestures toward the trembling courier like a CEO pointing at a failed quarterly report. 2 million missing, he says calmly. Explain. Everyone in the room looks at you, not the gunman, not the courier, you, because you're the cartel's accountant. The guy who turns chaos into clean numbers, the invisible CFO of an empire built on powder and fear. You flip open the laptop. Lines of shell companies scroll past like a stock ticker from hell. Offshore trusts, fake construction firms, restaurants that sell zero tacos but somehow generate millions in revenue. You trace the error in 30 seconds. The courier didn't steal anything. The money vanished because you designed the laundering system too well. One of your own algorithms rerouted it into a Cayman holding account during a risk pivot. The courier is innocent. You know it. The boss looks at you. So, this is your first real boardroom decision. And the meeting has a gun on the table. You could tell the truth. You almost do. For a split second, your brain runs the ethics software you installed back in college when you thought you'd become a corporate auditor instead of a cartel financial architect. But then the survival instinct patches the system. You glance at the courier. His eyes are begging. But you don't see a human. You see a liability. Every organization needs clean books. Public companies bury losses in accounting tricks. Your company buries them in graves. You sigh like a tired consultant and point at the courier. Diversion scheme, you say. Classic internal fraud. The boss nods slowly. The courier screams as they drag him away. You don't watch. You're already fixing the spreadsheet. You move a few digital assets, rebalance 3 shell companies, and the missing 2 million reappears like magic. Problem solved. Just like that, you've learned the first rule of criminal finance. In this business, truth is negotiable. But numbers must always look perfect. The boss pats your shoulder. You're valuable, he says. That's the moment your career really begins. Within a year, you become the cartel's secret weapon. Not guns, not muscle, you build a financial structure so elegant, it would make Wall Street blush. Drug money flows through luxury car dealerships, tech startups, and eco-friendly mining companies. You call it the clean river strategy. Dirty cash enters at the top. By the time it reaches the ocean, it looks like legitimate profit. You even introduce corporate jargon into cartel meetings. Gentlemen, you say during one strategy session, we're not criminals. We're an emerging market enterprise with aggressive revenue streams. They laugh, but they listen. Soon the cartel isn't just selling drugs. You're buying politicians, acquiring land, investing in hotels. Your spreadsheets start controlling entire regions. The boss stops making financial decisions without you. You're not just the accountant anymore. You're the chief financial officer of the underworld. And the numbers keep getting bigger. The empire explodes. What used to be trucks full of cash is now digital transfers moving through 10 countries before breakfast. You introduce quarterly reports, performance metrics, ROI on smuggling routes. You even fire a regional boss for poor operational efficiency. He disappears 2 days later. You don't ask questions, you just update the ledger. But the real power shift happens when the boss starts asking you something new. Where should we expand next? Not the generals, not the killers. You, the guy with the spreadsheets. You analyze markets like a Silicon Valley strategist. Demand curves, border security weaknesses, corruption indexes. You pitch your biggest idea yet, vertical integration. Why just sell drugs? Control the ports, own the trucking companies, finance the politicians who regulate everything. The cartel stops being a gang. Under your leadership, it becomes a multinational corporation with guns. Your net worth climbs into the billions. But something else grows with it. Your ego. One night, your old college friend calls you. He works at a real investment bank now. Clean money, clean suits. He looks at your consulting firm's financial statements and goes quiet. You know this ends badly, right? He says. You laugh. Badly? Your empire spans continents. Governments depend on your investments. Banks process your transactions without asking questions. You're not a criminal. You're too big to fail. Your friend sighs. That's what every empire thinks right before the crash. You hang up, because you know something he doesn't. You control the money. And in this world, money controls everything. Or so you think. The idea comes to you at 3 a.m. If you can move billions through fake companies, why not move trillions? You design the ultimate laundering scheme, a massive infrastructure fund, highways, ports, green energy projects, all financed with cartel money disguised as international investment capital. Governments line up to accept the cash. You're about to turn the cartel into something bigger than crime, a shadow financial system. But the scale creates a new problem: visibility. The bigger the numbers get, the harder they are to hide. Your network of shell companies becomes so massive it starts leaving fingerprints across global banking systems. Regulators notice patterns. Algorithms flag anomalies. For the first time in years, someone starts following the money, and the trail leads directly to you. The raids begin at dawn. Not just one country. 10. Banks freeze accounts. Shell companies vanish overnight. Politicians who once toasted you now claim they've never heard your name. The boss calls you in a rage. What happened to the money? You try to explain? Regulators, data tracking, global investigations. But he doesn't care. To him, this is simple math. You built the system, you broke the system, and now billions are gone. In the cartel's corporate culture, failure has a very strict HR policy. Termination, permanent. You realize something too late. Your empire wasn't built on loyalty. It was built on profit margins. And right now, you're the biggest loss on the books. You're sitting in a cold interrogation room months later. The government found you first. Lucky break? Or maybe just a slower execution. The agent across the table slides a document toward you. Your financial empire mapped out in brutal detail. Thousands of shell companies. Billions in transactions. Every brilliant system you built, now evidence against you. You stare at the paper and laugh. Your whole life was numbers, assets, liabilities, risk management, and in the end, the calculation was simple. You turned blood money into legitimate wealth for years, but eventually the numbers balanced. Every empire closes its books, and yours just posted its final loss. That wraps it up for today. This story is a work of fiction, but the power dynamics it explores are very real. If this made you think, drop a comment below with the biggest decision you would have made differently in this story, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next POV breakdown of power, corruption, and the people who think they can control it. See you in the next one.